Good morning, preppers. Happy prepping day to you. Kinda. Time is short because when it comes to violence, when it comes to protection, when it comes to all these things to be able to keep your family safe and secure, we want to make sure that we actually do everything we're supposed to. You and your family's lives may depend on this. So watch this whole video because I want you to be as protected as possible. All right, let's jump into a couple articles and I'll show you what I mean. First off, you may have seen this, but Walmart said it may be closing some stores and increase prices due to theft. Now, of course, Walmart is no stranger to having people steal stuff from them, of course. But what they're saying in the article is because of a few things. You'll see right here, it says that actually issue of theft is higher than what it has historically been. So it's a lot more. Now, they pay $3 billion per year due to theft by customers and employees. Now, where's this coming from? First off, if you've been keeping track of the news for the past couple of years, district attorneys, especially district attorneys in specific cities, which I won't mention who's running the cities, are refusing to prosecute people for thefts like this. And the message is very clear to the criminals. Go ahead and steal. Go ahead and shoplift. Do what you need to, because you know what? We're hurting for you because you don't have any money, and therefore go ahead and it's okay to steal from somebody else. And especially like in San Francisco, for example, you'll see that they'll actually have these mobs just going to the stores, ransacking it, stealing everything, and there's not a single thing the store owners can do. And furthermore, they're not being prosecuted for it anyway, so why not go ahead and just steal whatever you want to? I don't know about you and me, but I was actually raised differently, not to steal, even if things are being handed out for free, as they see it. Obviously, it's not being handed out for free. And you can see in this situation, because what's happening at Walmart, it's even worse. Because guess what? Now the stores are closing down because of this. And what we're going to see over the next few years as things actually get worse is certain stores will be closing in specific areas, and the people living in those areas who are stealing are only hurting themselves. I mean, it sounds like an old cliche, doesn't it? But you're not going to have those stores there anymore. The businesses are going to close down. And then just watch those cities, because they're going to turn into even more of a refuse of violence. Okay. But again, that's not necessarily where this article or today's video is going. I want you to see a little bit more of what's happening here. So let's go back to our thing here. Let's see. More theft, burglaries, and even murders are unexpected side effects of rising prices, a criminologist warns. They talk about there's a sharp rise in theft, burglary, and murder. There's actually more demand for stolen goods, and there's actually more focus on violent crime, on burglary and theft. I can never say burglary right. Soaring inflation threatens to trigger a crime wave. Now, is that actually what's causing it? Sure, I'm not going to say it's not inflation. Of course, inflation comes into play, but I personally would not simply just classify as just inflation. Again, I just mentioned, I think inflation combined with the fact that you're not getting prosecuted anyway, so let's go ahead and just ransack all the stores we want to and steal things. Now, when you get to a big corporation, of course, people talk about don't ever shop at Walmart and stuff, and that's completely your choice. But think of it this way. It doesn't even matter if it's Walmart or not. Because picture this. Let's say you don't shop at Walmart, but you shop at one local store in your area. Walmart prices are driving up. Walmart prices historically are always been cheaper than local anyway, and a lot of stuff anyway, not everything. And so now if Walmart prices are going up, we're definitely going to be seeing an increase in prices in your local as well. So the whole effect goes everywhere. It's not simply just with Walmart and those type of stores. In fact, what it is doing is actually pressuring more people to shop like on Amazon, which is obviously not the best thing you want to go with either. Not to mention people will be stealing packages from Amazon. It goes to your doorstep as well. That type of stuff happens all the time. All right, let's jump back into it again. So this morning in the Washington Times, which I love the Washington Times, ICE officers urged to ease up on criminals' arrest. So this is what we're talking about. Some ICE officers have been told to cut down on the arrest of even serious criminals to free up detention bed space so the government has somewhere to put illegal immigrants caught at the border. The guidance doesn't appear to be nationwide, but was delivered to agents specifically on the Mexican border. We're being told to abandon detention of anyone without a Class A felony, like murder, in preparation for border flights. So this is exactly what we're getting at. That even in this situation, of course, we're seeing a massive, massive flood of immigrants coming across. And I just read in other news articles, by the way, that we haven't seen anything yet. The amount of immigrants coming across, we're not talking about simply husbands and wives and children, Because I'm sure you're probably with me. I feel for the husbands and wives and children. But you know what? People in the United States go through the proper way of actually getting immigration. But of course, we're simply just opening the borders and saying, come on in. And it's not attracting a lot of husbands, wives, and children, but instead drug dealers, violent people, and not to mention infiltration of our society for nefarious purposes. That's what we worry about. That's what we worry about. That's not necessarily what a lot of the government officials worry about. I think they want it. They want it to crash our system. Okay, but because of this, we're actually going to see an increase in crime too, because if we're only going through the Class A felonies, the rest of the stuff, the other felonies and all these other things, don't worry about it. We're not going to actually prosecute those anyway. Okay, last article. Violent crime is a collapse indicator, an indicator of collapse. I went down to this paragraph. Selko has written many times that when consequences are no longer a deterrent, we'll begin to see worst inhumanity. He watched it happen. As we look at the nation hell-bent on sending social workers instead of law enforcement officers to crime scenes, we can see this prediction unfolding right in front of our eyes. There's a way the police with compassion still provide consequences, but folks are so busy screaming defund the police, they aren't even considering more mental health training for officers. As people struggle to provide food and housing for their families, not only will we see a violent crime just because they can, but we'll also see it as property crime increases as well. All right, doing away with bail. This article actually goes through talking about how all this is a stage 4 collapse. It is going to happen where we're actually seeing monetarily all these things happening where we're looking for a collapse, but we're going to definitely see violent crime increasing during these times. And of course, that's dangerous because not only will we have enough police out there, but a lot of the police, especially in these cities, aren't even motivated to arrest anybody. Why even arrest them if the prosecutors aren't going to be doing their job in the long run? It definitely seems to be swinging to the side of basically a free-for-all chaos in the United States and other countries too. It is up to you and I, and this is the moral of the story. It is up to us to be able to protect our families. And it's no wonder they actually keep shouting to take away certain things to protect ourselves, if you know what I mean. We have to protect ourselves. So I highly recommend that you take courses. I highly recommend you do drills in your house. I highly recommend you actually have devices in your home to be able to protect you and your family, because violent crime and theft is only going to get far worse, far worse. So take that path, my friends. Listen to these words, because we're heading in a direction, especially as we head to our collapse, where we're going to see nothing but chaos and violence coming. And that scares the daylights out of me. So you know what we do? We prepare. And that's all we can do. So prepare for this.